Hello, and welcome to the Order Entropy Tactical Deckbuilder overview video. In this video, we'll outline everything you need to start playing Order Entropy. First, we'll introduce you to the people who made this game possible.
Hi, my name is Kyle. I did most of the graphic design and helped with some of the game's mechanics.
My name is Cody. I created most of the main game mechanics and helped with the graphic design as well.
Hello, my name is Jordan, co-owner of Solstice Entertainment and graduate of Philosophy and Religious Studies from Indiana University Bloomington. I help with the game's theme, writing, and back-end work.
Order Entropy is a competitive 2 to 4 player science fantasy card game with immersive strategy, an elaborate art style, and remarkable replay value. The theme of the game takes influence from our own style of science fantasy, sociology, philosophy, and psychology. Now let's look at the game components and mechanics. We'll start with the playmat. This here is your playmat. Here we have a few named piles. Let's go through them one by one. The first area we'll discuss is the personality trait pile. Every player begins the game by drawing a starting personality trait. These personality traits are permanent, they can't be forgotten, and they have unique effects. You can learn new personality traits later to augment your strategy and increase your victory points, or as we call it, wisdom. We'll take a more in-depth look at wisdom later in the ways to win the game section. The next area on your playmat is the consciousness, or draw deck. This is where you draw cards. It also represents your health. Now the largest section of the playmat is your manifest. This is where you reveal and play cards every turn. Once you place a card into the manifest area, its abilities take effect. When playing a card, you want to make sure it is resolved before placing it into the next pile, the subconscious pile. The subconscious pile is your discard pile. When a card's effects and abilities resolve, place that card into the subconscious pile. When your draw deck, or consciousness, runs out of cards, you reshuffle your subconscious pile back into your consciousness. The next area on your playmat is the forgotten pile. When a card is placed into the forgotten pile, it no longer offers wisdom. There are a few ways to remember cards from the forgotten pile, but we'll talk about remembering cards in another video. The last pile on the playmat is the sublimation boon pile. These are also permanent, however, they can be forgotten via effects from other cards. Now, some other objects on the playmat include focus and defense tokens. The mechanics of these tokens will be explained more in another video, but let's go over them briefly to get an idea how they work. This is a focus token, and it goes here. Focus is a resource used to play the abilities of most cards. They are also used to change the phase to neutral, order, or entropy. We will talk more about phase shifting in a later section. This is the defense token. A defense token is gained by playing a runic card that offers defense. Defense tokens are tokens that protect you from attacks. You remove these tokens from the defense pool rather than forgetting cards from your consciousness. Now that summarizes your playmat. Now let's look at the middle of the game board, also known as the thought field. The thought field is an area where you acquire or learn cards. How do you learn these cards? Through a resource called experience. Every player starts with 7 experience cards in their consciousness or draw deck. These experience cards are used as a resource to learn cards from the thought field. There are 2 different types of experience cards, starting experience and experience 3s. The experience 3 cards in the thought field cost 3 experience, but they also give 3 experience when you play them. Players also start the game with 3 catalyst cards. Catalysts add more focus tokens to your focus pool when played. Catalyst 2s are another resource which you can learn from the thought field, and they grant 2 focus. Now that we have a way to learn cards, let's look a little closer at the thought field. As you can see, there are 3 red piles, 3 blue piles, the personality trait deck, and the knowledge deck. Let's start with the colored piles. These red and blue cards are known as Altric and Runic cards. All trick cards are designed to attack an adversary. Runic cards are designed to defend against attacks. Runic and all trick cards have a hierarchy in the form of a 3-tier system. Cards are either tier 1, 2, or 3. This card came from a tier 1 pile. The tier 3 pile cards are noticeably more expensive, have stronger abilities, and provide more wisdom points. Now, let's look at the details on each card. You'll find the experience cost on the top right corner of each card. When learning cards, you will need to make sure the amount of experience you play is equal to or greater than the cost on the card. Another important section on the card is its abilities. We can see the card's abilities here. Some of these abilities have a cost or benefit to them. Now, let's look at the 3 boxes on the left side of the card. Here we'll find the experience value, the attack or defense value, and the wisdom value. The top box, containing the experience value, grants experience equal to the number on that card when played. The middle box contains the attack value of an all-trick card or the defense value of a runic card. The bottom box is the wisdom point value. These points will determine the winner at the end of the game if there is more than one player conscious. The goal is to gather as many wisdom points as possible or to eliminate all of your opponents. We will dive into that a bit more in a later section. Now, let's take a look at phase shifting. The way you change phases on the Tabletop Simulator version of the game is represented by a menacing drake. In the physical version, however, we will be using a different object. During your turn, you can spend a focus token to phase shift to any other phase. This mechanic is necessary to play your cards. In the neutral phase, you can play a card for its experience value. This is also known as the learning phase. However, if you want to attack someone or defend yourself, you would need to phase shift. When the phase is in entropy, you can play all trick cards to attack another player. In the order phase, you can play runic cards to gain defense tokens. Last, we have the knowledge deck. The knowledge deck is a deck of high experience costing cards that cause a single effect when learned. All knowledge cards except one cost 10 experience and grant the player 10 wisdom each. Knowledge cards can also bring the game to an end, if you still have opponents left, that is. This leads us into our last section of the overview, how to win the game. At the bottom of the knowledge deck is a card named Amanitize the Eschaton. The description of the card says, "End the game." Whoever learns this card ends the game, but that doesn't mean they win. You can also end the game by eliminating all of your adversaries. To win, you must be the last player standing or have the most wisdom. Now, wisdom points represent victory points in Order and Entropy. When the game ends, you will count all the wisdom on all the cards in your consciousness deck, your subconscious pile, personality trait pile, sublimation boom pile, and the cards in your hand. You do not count the forgotten pile or any banished cards. Whoever has the highest wisdom score wins. Thanks for watching the overview video for Order and Entropy Tactical Deckbuilder. There is much more to learn about the game. There are many card mechanics, strategies, and turn operations that you can find in other videos. Check us out on Facebook, Kickstarter, Discord, and our website at solsticeentertainment.com. Thank you for your interest, and we hope to see you in the community.